comfortable?
Absolutely. Gandhi was always there in my mind since childhood. We always have these heroes in your mind. Gandhi was something which I was not just admiring, but he has also created a lot of confusion
Right.
in my mind because his ideology was too strong. And then in childhood, you fell in this idea of a figure, an image, a person who's very strong, surrounded by people, walking so fast. You have this imagery in your mind. And later on, when I was in school, I was in Anglo Urdu in camp. So the entire Gandhi cinema, the Africa thing was shot in that vicinity. So I was very fortunate to see all that. So see all those cinematic things happening around. And I was still more curious about this personality. Everybody is talking about him. Everybody it was a buzz in the town at that time. And then when this cinema was released, it was my father who wanted me to see this. And it was very expensive, the ticket.
Right.
So he got me the ticket and I watched that movie. And then I actually came to know what Gandhi as a personality was. But again, the visual, the imagery was important for me. So that imagery still remains always in my mind. So when I studied history and then we studied Duchamp, we studied Joseph Beuys and everyone. And I was fascinated with this idea of how you can extend the limitations of art in this conceptual art and how the visual becomes a symbol, a powerful symbol. But when I went through all those things, then I reflected and said, in fact, we had a greater person in this. Gandhi actually created so many visual vocabularies which were converted into public movements. For a simple reason, the salt. He just went there, and not just went there. He started his walk from one place, and then he went to Dandi, and in between he also created a lot of awareness. And then just a simple, no ceremony, nothing. Just simply, he was taking the sand in hand, and that's it. And that symbol was actually responsible for the decisive freedom thing, the agreement between England and us. So that visual symbol was important. Again, his dressing up, how he adopted his dressing up. He was coming from a very affluent lawyer, being a lawyer, coming from England and Africa.
It was a shift.
It was a shift. He actually went to see the entire country. And then he adopted all that. And he thought, if I am not like them, his voice will not be heard. So that's exactly why he has changed his attire, he's changed his ideas, and his change is evident in his visual appearance.
Right.
And I think that's how I think he was a visual man. And that's exactly why I think he was a conceptual artist, because he knew concepts behind visuals.
Right.
So his experiment with truth was very much misunderstood. He was associated with partition of India, and he was always blamed for giving Pakistan a better side. So he was always misunderstood. Even in today's time, he is misunderstood. But I think people don't take effort to learn what really his stand was. And I think being a doer, any doer in the world does mistakes. He must have also done some mistakes, but he was very clear and open about it. So there was no two ways about any of his ideas or any of his activities. There were no two ways or no diplomatic way. in this. He was very clear and open. Like when he wrote a letter to Viceroy saying that I am doing my job and put yourself in my place and think, what would have you done if you were in my place? You would have fought for the freedom. I am doing my job, you are doing your job. So he was not personally personal. He never had personal problem with people. So he was very clear and true about everything, and that also is a seed of controversies because he was very true. He never held anything back.
Everyone wanted him to do the right thing.
Yes,
Always.
which he might have done, he might have not done even, but he has gracefully accepted his mistakes also, which nobody does, and that is where I think the controversy, and people take advantage of his truth. That's what is happening. It is happening even today. It will happen even more. But you cannot avoid this personality from the history of the world. This is something which I've been recently having a dialogue with wherever I go. I always have a dialogue, and people are very much have associated Gandhi and India together. Gandhi's image is very big in the entire world. And what happens in India is there are so many narrations which also benefit so many people. And it is now has become very difficult to tell even people that this may be the true and this may not be true. It's very difficult now to have this dialogue with people. Now there is more or less kind of confined way of thinking in certain groups, which we cannot change. But I think this is going to be temporary, this phase, because looking at the global scenario and how people all over the world think about Gandhi, it's very positive. And also people want to see anybody who's coming from India to be associated with this image, which is, I think, really amazing.
True.
Yeah. So basically, I wanted images which are popular ones, which can be identified immediately. And as you know, Gandhi was one of the biggest leaders who was photographed massively. So we have his pictures from a very candid one to where he is actually standing outside the 10 Downing Street. There's a range of images we have. So I am looking for those popular ones where his expression is seen, or maybe his stance, the body language is seen. And I would like to see everything abstract. So I select this image on the basis of the forces which it creates in the image. So that's how I kind of select the image. Right. So what happens with Gandhi, that what I always feel is he was so adamant about anything what he has decided. I think that sometimes for me feels very challenging, because to believe in the idea, have that conviction, and to be very adamant about it is not a simple thing. And I think that is what he has done throughout. Like simple idea of non-violence, which is very difficult. It's technically almost impossible to become totally non-violent. But he was so adamant, and to the level that this country should have this image of non-violence and the struggle of freedom should be non-violent. I think this idea is very challenging, and passing this idea, this is a very abstract idea. passing this abstract idea to the stakeholders, all the freedom fighters and everyone, and to the people is very challenging, I think. And this is something I feel, it is also not realistic sometimes. I'm saying these are my impressions
Okay.
about Gandhi as an image. I'm not going into the history, I'm not going into the technicalities, but I am actually looking at this as an image. I'm working on this image and I'm having my impressions on it. That's the idea. So I would always like to be spontaneous. So memory and imagination, I need to throw them out. But when you're working with an existing image, there's a memory of this image which is already existing. So that becomes like a takeoff ground. And then you actually take off from there and you take some clues from your subconscious, those visual forces which are there in the image, and also the impression which I have, rather than the memory, the impression which I'm having and which I'm getting. So I think I like to use that, and it is always layered because you work with some forms on your canvas and which resonates, and sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, so the layering is sometimes you have these forms already and you also react to whatever is happening on that space spontaneously. You continuously work, go paint and come back and forth. That's what the process is. And that's actually comes from the seed of spontaneity. Yeah. Sometimes you are attracted to some medium because you want to say something else, and you find that appropriate medium for that. It's not that I deliberately change the medium. Sometimes you want to say something and you find that medium, appropriate medium accordingly. This is I'm taking everything into the abstraction. So it starts with the solid image and the impression I have, and it goes into an abstract area completely. So this is how I'm looking at it. So it goes into the abstraction. It is the visual in this case,
Right.
because the visual is selected first. So it is the visual which dictates but it also takes off after some time, and which is very playful, which is very interesting to paint. When there's a starting point and then you are very playful about it. So that's how the process happens. See, as an artist, I think one has this tool, and I think we can use this tool for saying something, and in the times where things needs to be told in certain way. So an artist has this tool. It is not always that you are going to say something to the society, but there are some times when you can definitely say something through your medium, and that is where I think an artist has this medium handy, and he can use it for saying things which cannot be said in certain way, but can be said in different various ways. So I think that's where the art helps the artist. I think it's very open. Means anybody can see his image or his ideas, or even challenge his ideas in different ways, different medium, different way of expressions. So I think it's a very open subject, and Gandhi can provide you material forever in this matter.
Right.
Kind of image this Gandhi has.
This Gandhi.
Yes, this Gandhi has. I'm expecting all sorts of things.
Okay.
There are two ways of looking at Gandhi, and I'm coming from the city where his killer was born. So we face these ideas in everyday conversation also. So there is definitely a difficult dialogue happen throughout in my schools, in my college, in later in my career. There are always double various ways of looking at him. So there are different ways people are looking at Gandhi's image. So this is going to be there. The salt today is very easy to access. Given that time, it was not really that easy. It was expensive. So salt was very important to rule the country. It was the nerve of the society. So the relevances needs to be changed. But I think his visuals are very powerful even today, and they will remain still very powerful. It's basically, like I said, it was very the popular ones I've chosen because we have a variety of images about this. The whole, sometimes he's in the crowd, sometimes he's alone, sometimes he's spinning, sometimes so many things, sometimes he's talking or he's having a public address. So there are different images and different energies you can see in that. So I have tried to get those popular ones, and that is because I want the entry point to be easy for people with the known image.
As easy as it is, the accessibility
Accessibility, yes.
to these images.
Yeah, so it's
Is
easy
it-
to access.
Is other thoughts easier to access?
Not really, not really, because what he is trying to say is it sounds easy, but it's not very easy.
Right.
Like the idea of non-violence. So his ideology. That's exactly why there's a lot of controversy around him, because his ideas are not really taken in right light. I'm not really trying to illustrate anything,
Okay.
or I'm not even trying to bring his idea. I'm just trying to bring my impressions, my visual impressions in this series, so that in this time the dialogue again opens with the painting around. People can talk about Gandhi again. That is exactly what I want.
So you just want to throw a stone in water?
Yes, quite muddy water. So this basically, with this series, I've chosen those images which are popular images mostly, and I try to recompose them. I am not using them as they are, and I did some digital work on it, like a painting, some strokes where the forces are little enhanced, and then I print this on the canvas, and then I also paint a few things on it, and then I have a canvas around it, the second canvas, which is very abstract. So the forces dictate the second canvas, and the abstract thing happens there. And some things also come back to the original work. So that's how
Right.
coming back and forth, that's the process. Gandhi's India and India's Gandhi. This is what I think, Gandhi's India is the image which I'm getting when I have conversations all over the world. They have associated Gandhi with India, and that's a very strong association. But when we are back home, We have different ideas about Gandhi. So these are the two different ways of looking at him. And that is something which I'm trying to do with these diptychs and triptychs, the various perspectives and dimensions, which we have, duality, which we have in the minds. Yes.
That's it.
Thank you.
Do you want to share anything else?
Not really now. Maybe later.
I guess we have covered it.
I think so.